this is Debbie, and this is Light Up Your Worth. I am so excited to bring you today's guest, Nancy Reagan. And you're probably going, what? Nancy Reagan? But she's the founder of the Skin Diva Labs, the Bella Reina Spa, effectively known as the First Lady of Skincare. Nancy is a true pioneer in skincare and beauty. With humor and spiritual skincare, she loves the girl boss life over 65 and how to start over at 60. As a diagnostic aesthetician and skincare coach for 30 years, she has revolutionized skincare for women over 40, giving them glow confidence. Nancy's journey in the skincare industry is nothing short of remarkable. Her unique blend of scientific knowledge and practical advice has led her to develop groundbreaking products, including her revolutionary vegan NAD plus skincare line, Skincare Labs. Her innovative approach to addressing real skin versus skin age conversations has helped countless women achieve ageless beauty from the inside out. Her practical advice and inspiring message has captivated audience on numerous podcasts, television, and media platforms. Welcome, Nancy.
Hello. How are you?
Oh, I am so well. I'm so excited to have you on because though we're all spiritual, we all want to have beautiful looking skin.
Yes. No matter our age.
We want to be the best version of ourselves throughout life. That's important because when you step into your worth, it really does show with the inside work, with the outside work. And I am just fascinated about what you've discovered and how you got here with your approach to help women over 40.
I saw women struggling, and by divine intervention, I was looking for an oncology skincare line that we could do facials for people that were undergoing cancer. And I met this biochemist, and she was really into the whole approach of clean beauty and non-toxic and really making it work for the oncology. We started testing these products, and it was making a change. This is incredible. How do I make these for home that it's simple? Like, I'm real about it. Can't be like an extended time that you want me in the bathroom doing skincare.
Yeah, me
I'm
neither.
like,
Yeah.
I don't think anybody should spend more than 10 minutes. That's too much. It had to be super simple. It had to be super easy and get results. And part of the process has just been this divine spiritual guidance along the way that has put the right people and things to bring my message. If you're over 40 or over 50, your skin life doesn't have to be over. It can still be gorgeous and beautiful. And yes, we have the ability to repair the skin now that we didn't have even 5 years ago. And we have all these magical ingredients. We have peptides and methylene blue and ceramides and NAD and niacinamide, and all these things are making it so that we can actually message DNA and actually make changes in the cells topically without having injections, without having anything, so that you're not undergoing the knife to.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear more about it because I feel blessed that I had a grandmother when I was in my teenage years who told me always wear sunscreen. And I'm very pale for the listeners who don't know what I look like. I'm extremely pale and rarely get any color, even though I've spent a lot of time outside. I feel like it has preserved my skin some, but I am 58. And so it is showing in my skin as well.
We undergo so many changes from puberty to our 40s. Once we hit that 40, the dryness and the dehydration, if you're not actually doing something to counteract it, it starts to wear on the skin. All of our, like what we eat from nutrition, the skin is our dumping ground. Even a vitamin deficiency can cause pigmentation problems. There's all these factors that play a part of having glowing, beautiful skin that's not just the topical part, but also nutrition, the soul, the spiritual part, being happy with yourself and
Mm-hmm.
having gratitude makes a big difference.
Gratitude brings abundance and joy.
When you're grateful for tiny things, it just makes a day that is so wonderful. And somebody can say, oh, I'm so grateful that somebody opened the door for me. And it's such a tiny little thing, but the grateful part of our lives make us so thankful when the good things come. And I
Mm-hmm.
just think that's part of our skin and soul journey. Once we hit menopause, we start getting dryness, dehydration, pigmentation issues, and everybody's like, I'm looking older than my age. And okay, so let's talk about this and let's try to fix this because, hey, well, your real age, your skin age, I don't want to look 67. I want to look 57 or 47. I don't want to look older. And it depends where you live. It depends like whether you've been outside worshiping the sun, and nothing gives me more joy than having somebody who has been a sun worshiper for their whole life and watching their skin actually change from being so wrinkled and dry to now smoothing out a little bit and really starting to glow. It's huge for confidence in how somebody feels.
I really believe in this season of life. It wasn't until I was closer to my 50s that I started having that confidence, that really owning that self-worth, where it affected day-to-day decisions and choices. And sometimes it takes us these decades, I think, especially in those who are already 40. I think women are different the way they're showing up now because we raise them,
Differently.
things to avoid for them. But when you step into your worth, you might feel like I feel the most beautiful I have ever felt in my whole life. I carry extra weight, getting older, my skin, yet I feel confident, worthy. I'd like my skin to keep up with that. So, how do you approach skincare for those of us, maybe even somebody getting close to 40 in their 50s or 60s or 70s?
Even though I love my Skin Diva Labs, I still have recommendations on just basic products. And one of the key parts of us having really good skin is hydration. Hydration is one of the keys, and there's a difference between dryness and dehydration. And dryness is the things we get from the menopause of our hormones changing, our body changing, and part of what's in their skin, the hyaluronic, the ceramides, NAT, everything is declining. So when that's happening, it's creating dryness in the skin that we need to make sure that we're like fixing, because we need to fix that dryness. The dehydration is from the water and too much coffee and too much tea and too many, please don't drink any sodas. Too much of anything can cause the dehydration of the body and the skin. And the liver is our controlling mechanism for having great skin. So if your liver is really filled with toxins and it's on overload, your skin's going to really have trouble rising to the occasion to look incredibly fabulous. But part of the really good skincare is making sure that the cleanser you're using is not overstripping the skin. I like for them to be emulsifier free and real simple. It's when you put oil and water together as a mixture in a skincare ingredient, they commercially, they use a lot of emulsifiers, and the emulsifiers actually make the skin unbalanced. So they actually strip the skin. So everything, sadly, anything you put on after that, the skin is trying very hard to get back to balance. And sometimes you can go, oh, I'll just use any cleanser. And I see people spend fortunes on a serum and a cream, and they're nothing on the cleanser, a lot on the serum, and they put it on, and oh, I'm not seeing any results. And the biggest issue is the cleanser stripping, and then the serum's going, oh, let me go back and fix what the cleanser did. So instead of it doing what it's supposed to in the skin, it's fixing the pH balance and the barrier first, because that's the priority for our bodies, is to make sure our bodies are hydrated and everything is in great shape. So it fixes that first, and all of the good ingredients that it was supposed to use to send. I try to get everybody to understand it's the prep work first, and then it's your specialty serums and your creams, so that you're really making sure that you're getting your money's worth. If you're going to spend a lot of money on a serum and a cream, you want those things to work, but you have to start with a good cleanser.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So,
that's
and
really, who knew?
who
Knew
knew?
that?
I actually, and after so many years of being a diagnostic esthetician, I knew that cleansers could be stripping, and sometimes we use stripping cleansers for acne, but I don't think I really understood how important it was for menopausal skin until I started seeing what was needed. Cancer, you really understand how the skin is bombarded by chemo. Repair work helped me see, oh, and if you actually add a toner that has hyaluronic on it, what ends up happening to the skin next is whatever's put on absorbs better. You want that. You want to spend, if you're going to spend money, you want it to work and absorb. It's the science behind making a skincare routine work.
What I love too is that you brought up the hydration, because we do hear about hydrate. But what I haven't heard is the role of the liver with our skincare. For goodness sake.
It's huge.
I had no idea. I on and off, and I'm currently been doing it now for a couple months. I went back to doing fresh celery juice in the morning to help my liver. It has made a good impact on my health, trying to really help my liver. And I had no idea that the other benefit would be for my skin.
The liver is one of the hardest fighting organs that we have. It also is where a lot of the toxins. Okay, so if the body is, for example, deficient in vitamin B, it can cause hyperpigmentation. The liver is really the controlling factor in dryness, dehydration, all of these things, because if it's on toxic overload, it's dumping. The people that have psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, keep on going, all the different skin inflammations, it's the liver dumping the toxins into the lymphatic system, which the lymphatic system then dumps it into the circulatory, and the byproduct is it dumps into the skin. So our skin is like the dumping ground for all of this toxins that come originally starting with the liver. And the liver does the best it can, but all the carryover, or if you're vitamin deficient, that dumps into the skin too, and the lack of.
Yeah.
So
now, with vitamins, are you generally seeing that deficiency in with the skin? I'm just
sometimes it can be a combination of things. And I can never say the name of it. There's one that it's like at the corner of the mouth that ends up being like a little split here. And you see it in older clients that aren't getting enough nutrition. They're not getting their fresh fruits and vegetables, and they're just not getting the right enough vitamins. And all of that is really stemming from the toxification in the body, especially in the United States. We're very much have a whole issue with preservatives and chemicals, and we're bombarded by them in everything that we have. And so the skin is part of it, and taking care of it is like part of the conversation that at the spa too is talking about making sure everybody's taking a really great amino, I'm a big fan of a product by a company called Body Health, and they make an amino acid panel that's really good for aging skin. It usually tastes terrible. They have tablets too, but I'm a powder girl and it tastes terrible. It's helping the protein in your body and the amino. So it helps your
Mhm.
collagen and it helps your elastin. But it also, just like the celery, it's helping your liver. And because you're getting the aminos and all of that glutathione, everything is helping the skin look better and glow. So I'm a big fan of, they have a multivitamin too that is awesome, from even the probiotics for somebody who has rosacea, because we start with, our skin starts with anything we put in our mouth.
Mm.
That's where it starts. So anything that puts in our mouth is what is going to end up, our skin's going to either be dehydrated or dry or whatever that is. It can come from outside, like if it's super windy,
Mhm.
but majority of it's coming from what we're around or doing
Oh,
as a
isn't that interesting? We don't receive education on how this is connected. We know as spiritual people, we're all connected by our bodies and mind and spirit. We're all one. But how that translates even into our skincare, especially over 40. So I'm so glad you're here, Nancy, educating us. You mentioned some of these things like the NAD and the peptides. Now, I've started to recently learn more about peptides, like copper peptides being regenerated to rejuvenate, because I use a LifeWave product called
right,
X39, the patch. And so
right.
I really geeked out a little bit because I wanted to understand that. I'm curious about what type of peptides you're talking about that impact this.
From a skin standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
every peptide, like the advertisement out there for skincare is, oh, it's got peptides. There's different peptides, there's different levels and quantities of peptides, and
Mm-hmm.
each peptide has a different message. So it has a different signal that it's sending to the skin. So one of the peptides could be, oh, I need you to smooth fine lines. Another one could be, oh, you better help the elasticity of the skin. Every peptide or peptide complex has a different role in the skin. So it's the blending and the mix of the peptides that make the skincare magically work or not work.
Yeah.
So it is that combination that makes the difference. So it's one I love is Siscan, a complex of different ones. There's Matrixyl 6. It's not in Skin Diva Labs, but it's another one that's very common and trademarked. But it is a peptide that you'll see that's a bunch of peptides put together that
Mm-hmm.
they trademarked in order to provide lifting and smooth out fine lines and wrinkles. Peptides are amazing, even from the fact that they're not only used topically, but they're also being used with IVs and that type of thing in the world now, even for people using them for all types of targeted anti-aging longevity. So there's a lot that goes on in the optimal health of the biohacking with peptides, and
Mm-hmm.
people are trying them for different ways for longevity. It's interesting whole field of what's going on, but peptides are wonderful. The downside to peptides is, in my skincare view, is they signal, but they don't always have a function to repair.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I love about NAD and niacinamide is they're like the repair workers for the
Mm-hmm.
skin. The peptides are more the messenger. Hey, you need to wake up. You need to do your job over here. And NAD is more like, oh, I need to give you energy. I need to boost you. I need to make sure you're building collagen. And the NAD is also repairing the DNA. So if it's been damaged by whatever environment, sun, whatever, it's helping to repair as a repair mechanism. So that's the positive about having a mix of different longevity serums and creams work better than another cream or another serum that's out there. It's the combination
Okay.
that really works better than like just one single thing. So a lot of people love vitamin C serum because it's popular because people like talk about it and it's very much marketed. But vitamin C in the big skin of how the skin it works and how it has a healthy skin cell, vitamin C is only a very small portion. And vitamin A is actually at the top of a triangle. Vitamin C is over here, vitamin E is over here. We need all of them to really make it work great. And we also, but nobody talks about the other two. They're left out. They don't talk about the other two. Sell the vitamin C serum. They don't tell you that oxidizes fast. It's better to have it in powder form and then mix it when you get home or put it in an airless pump. So there's things in mixing. Yeah, they don't tell you those things because
yeah, I've noticed that when I've bought some really what I call more of an investment, and then you're halfway through and you can tell the texture of it is
it's brown. It's like a different color or it's starting to get liquidy. It's really changed colors. Part of that is the oxidizing of the skin care. And so when it oxidizes and air hits it, that's why I adore airless pumps. They have a good, bad like thing because airless pumps, you don't always have the one that actually you can see how much is left. So you don't actually know how much is left, but it does protect what's in there. And if you're putting things in with liposomes and everything like that, you need that airless pump to really protect the ingredients inside. You're paying money for this. It needs to be protected and not evaporate into the air the minute the oxygen hits.
Yeah, I have noticed that with products that I've had over the years, and then I'm frugal that way. I don't want to throw it out. There's got to be something still good with this.
Hands and elbows.
It's almost like the little kid song, huh? Hands and elbows.
I'm always like, what do I do with this now? Hands and elbows.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. It just reminds me of a little kid song that I'm singing.
Yeah. And then pretty soon we'll be patting our heads too.
Yeah.
So,
wow, that's great. Yeah. How do people go about figuring it out, like what they need? Like you obviously have a spa besides the clinic, but say I'm out in Arizona, right? Not local. How would I figure out what product I would need from your line?
we did everything pretty simple because I wanted people to have the chance to really try something before they invested in a whole skincare line. So I made a mini kit that is a 5-piece kit. It has directions, makes it super simple. And if all you need are those 5 for fabulous skin. And I had somebody last week go, oh, but how about you need an eye cream or you need an exfoliant? Somebody else might. I personally just don't want to have to deal with another step in the bathroom. But 5 products, a cleanser, a toner, serum, cream, and what's an overnight mask. Wear at night, it helps. And at night, your body regenerates the most. So wearing a night mask is really helping to ramp up your cellular repair at night. So that's all you really need. And you don't need any more than that. Even if you're not using Skin Diva Labs, that's all. Yes, a sunscreen, but that's all you really need. That's no more. The toner, everybody, oh, you really don't need a toner. And the toner is, if it's done properly, the toner is acting like a serum and a toner. In the case of Skin Diva Labs, it's got probiotics and hyaluronic in it. So it's helping to detoxify the skin with the probiotics, and it's helping make products adhere better to the skin with the hyaluronic, because hyaluronic is in our bodies naturally, but it attracts water. So it attracts moisture. So you want something that's pulling everything into the skin. So it helps to plump it up and make it look hydrated and beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't we all want to look hydrated and beautiful?
Well, you do look hydrated and beautiful. Your skin looks good, looks great.
I know, but I am actually looking for a new skincare, right? So this recording is perfectly timed, of course, with things that I'm interested in. At this season of my life, we have talked about the connection between inner spiritual growth and outer beauty. How do you see this with yourself and the women that you're serving? Or maybe some men even more.
You, or two.
There's always a few in there.
The happier you are, this is my Nancy simple life is beautiful viewpoint on the soul, and I call it spiritual skincare. If you find joy and happiness and you're looking for answers in a skincare bottle and you don't have joy and happiness in your life, it doesn't matter what skincare you're going to use. It's not going to make you look in the mirror and go, damn, I look great. You're not going to get it. That part of your journey starts with gratitude. It's part of your everyday spiritual prayer, whatever you do. I think that is part of finding peace and happiness, no matter where you are in your journey. And I've seen some people that have had some really tough journeys and they've been super, super sick and they didn't have really a future, but their peace and their ability to be grateful and thankful gave them this glow that just shone everywhere, that it was unbelievable. It was amazing. But for me, spirit guides and everybody around you, it enables you to be able to be your best and to shine your brightest. Nobody can take that light out of you if you feel it within you. Nobody can take it away. Nobody can like snuff it out. It doesn't go away. Having beautiful skin makes it brighter, but if it comes from within, you spread it everywhere. Your energy, when you walk in a room, when you talk to people, it emanates throughout the entire room. You can either take the room down or make it incredible just by how you feel. We work with people every day, and you know when somebody walks in the door, how the energy can change in a room really fast. We put on, I call it my super shield. So you put on your superpower shield and say a little prayer, and then you start in and you're able to like be able to give that person some of you that helps. It's all transfer of energy. You know, you can have beautiful people and we think they're gorgeous. I'm looking at them like, oh my God, that woman is just so gorgeous. She's just drop dead gorgeous, but she might not feel it within herself. And it doesn't come out as beautiful. And that's where the spiritual part really starts to me.
Yes. Yeah, we're so aligned that way. Really finding that inner joy and peace shows. I think you just show up differently.
Yeah, for everything. For you show up to the grocery store differently.
Yeah.
You show up, to our life little, putting things up, doing like mundane things with peace and joy. It makes your life, to me, it makes it more fun to start with, but also on the other side, when you're able to transfer that joy to other people, like what you do on your podcast, it makes the world better. It's nice.
I agree with how we show up and how we can light up a room or take the room down. But that, and we're not talking to the listeners. No, we're not talking about spiritual bypassing. We're talking, it comes from doing some inner work because
Right.
everybody's had big T's or little T's, everybody, no matter how you grew up, what you grew up with, where you grew up. And I think as you get more seasoned in life, you appreciate different things differently, but I think it also gives you a different perspective on why you need gratitude and where you can pull the gratitude out of you if it has to be pulled out, right? On some really challenging life moments or situations. And it it's what brings me back to my own joy, which is this is probably the most favorite thing I do in my whole life is doing these interviews and
Really?
meeting
That's
people like
cool.
you. Yeah, it is. I really feel like I'm an advocate to be able to highlight feeling worthy that we, and it for me myself, it came through the woo, like healing arts, metaphysical
Mhm.
coaches, therapy. People sometimes downplay the woo. I don't use that word, but the metaphysical stuff that's been around. But now we have all the science too that proves it. Okay, for all the people who are groundbreaking, and now you hear more and more of it. Like people have always known this, but now you got something that can actually back it up. So,
It's science, same with skin,
mhm,
same with spirit. So the science is there, whether people want to understand it or look at it or embrace it, it's always been there. But
mhm,
it's, and I know too, it's like starting over later in life,
mhm.
finding gratitude and joy for the little things is interesting. It's like,
I haven't started over just a few years ago. Not my first time. It is much different. Not comparing yourself to others' journeys and
Mm-mm.
really staying focused about yourself.
I little short, very short story. I can remember I had no furniture except a sofa, and it was a very bad divorce. And I had these two giant 100-pound dogs. He didn't want, of course. And so here I was, and I had the sofa and the dogs, and both dogs enjoyed sleeping on the sofa too. So it was quite the threesome, but it was like I took joy, and I was like, it could be worse. I didn't have the dog. It was like life's little funny moments that
Hmm.
gives you that joy. It was cool.
That's a great story. Being grateful for warm cuddle buddies, right?
That's it.
Watching over
Right.
you and it can it really does get back to what are we showing.
Mhm.
It shows up on the outside. I want to switch to questions that I
Okay.
love to ask all my guests because I love music. I think music has the ability to change everything in our day, in our lives, lift us up. And so I'm always curious to find out on those moments, that you need to pick yourself up, remind yourself of who you are, Nancy, really. And what's your music song that you like to put on and listen to?
Mine is Girl on Fire with a southern accent. But Girl on Fire by Alicia Keys. I love that song. It's
Yeah,
one of my
that's
favorites.
gorgeous song.
Mhm.
We'll add that to a playlist on the YouTube channel of the podcast. So
Cool.
for others to listen to. The second question that I always love to hear is that in this season of your life, you had to go back and talk to your much younger self
Mhm.
about your own worth. What would you tell yourself?
Oh my gosh. That question is okay. Because I was very sick until 37, had cancer, 14 surgeries. It had been quite the journey. And I also didn't quite understand that I was my own self, and I had looked to other people for proof that I could be loved. And I really would tell my younger self, you're worthy of loving yourself,
Mhm.
love yourself. And really, that lesson, I don't know what it was about the switch that turned on at about 45, 50, but that switch turned on, and I was like, oh oh, girl, you've been missing this. And when it turned on, there was no stopping. It made a whole difference in how you react to people. I'm not waiting for approval because you're the girl boss. You're the one making the decisions. You're in charge of yourself. It's a real different feeling. And some mothers teach it to it wasn't one of my, like when I was growing up, you were taught to be a good wife. Like, that was your role, and be very subservient. So it wasn't like you had opinions, and you weren't supposed to have opinions, and you weren't supposed to even acknowledge that you knew anything, even though you were smarter than the dumb people that you were hanging around with. Not exposed to. I think that is a huge highlight, to go back to yourself and say, hey, look in the mirror, love yourself first, because that will propel you forward completely.
Very beautifully said, Nancy. We're so glad you got through those times to be
Yes.
here with us today.
The foundations.
Yeah, right. So I'd love for you to share how the listeners can find you.
Instagram is my favorite. We are at Skin Diva Labs on Instagram. And if you as listeners want a special listener discount, or you can go to our website, which is skindivalabs.com/skindiva. And that will enable you to sign up. And you can see our products. If you're interested, you can ask any questions, Instagram or email, whichever is easier for you, or however you guys want to show up.
Right. Now, do you have an actual like physical location?
I do.
People can come in and.
We are in Delray Beach, Florida. And the spa name is Bella, Bella, Reina spa, SPA. And that website is the name, BellaReinaSpa.com. So they can see the actual spa if you're in Florida.
We have Florida listeners. I might need to go to Florida. Meet in person, Nancy.
Podcast on the road.
Right? That is some of the things I'm working towards. I would love to have a traveling podcast to go out and interview people and meet people along the way.
That would be so much fun.
Oh my gosh. Off the charts, full of joy. Yes.
And see the whole United States. I might have to follow you.
Yeah, we can get a little mini convoy going.
That's it. That's it. That's for real.
It has been such a joy to have you on, Nancy, and share your knowledge with the listeners of Light Up Your Worth and get to know you more. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It was fabulous.